Hi everyone and welcome to this video, Designing the Framing. Here we will talk a bit about what to think about when designing the framing for your role-playing game, giving a general overview and repeating some of the things mentioned in the previous course to refresh your memory. Then in the weeks to come, we will go deeper into each part and you will get to read a lot of material on the topics as part of this course. Many of our videos in this course are more of a complement to the other materials rather than being overarching or introductory. What is the point of framing the game at all? Do we even need it? Well, framing is a tool for you as a designer, organizer, and/or game master. Its purpose is to shape and enhance the experience. It's a way to help players to have the experience you and they intended. So let's start out by talking about the pre-game. In the last course, we talked about the purpose of the pre-game parts. You might recognize this slide from that presentation. So let's quickly go through it again. The pre-game activities can help with getting everyone to know the format, helping the players feel comfortable, making sure that everybody knows the safety rules, getting players to get to know the setting, helping players get to know their characters and relations, rehearsing mechanics, helping with embodiment and/or role-playing, encouraging players to research subjects related to the topics of the game, helping players get to know each other off-game, and expectation management. In the previous course, we mentioned how this is important not just for the players, but also for the game master or organizer. But this is also where you are communicating with and onboarding new facilitators and volunteers. And that is something that we sometimes forget to plan for. How do we onboard people in the best way that is not just there to play the game, but to actually help out during the game? If we plan ahead for this, it helps a lot when it's time to actually run the game. Communication with players. When communicating with your players, there are some things that are important to think about that I would like to highlight a bit extra here. The first is cognitive overload. If you have too much information at once, then the players won't be able to take it all in and they will therefore lose parts. And this is extra important when you are running a game for beginners or when running a campaign. What information is essential to the game? What do they really need to know to be able to play it? Gather that information and clearly highlight it and separate it out from the other information. Having loads of pages with lore and backstory can be super cool and give loads to players that have played before and know a lot of the basics, or that just have a lot of time before. But it's not essential to the new players, to someone signing up really late, or to someone jumping in for someone that is sick. They just need to be able to play the game. On the other hand, having too little information or unclear information can also be a huge problem. That can lead to players feeling unsafe and having loads of questions. And this might mean that if this is during a workshop segment before a LARP, they might be so busy trying to remember all their questions that they just once again get cognitive overload and therefore miss the information you're trying to convey. Finding the balance isn't easy, but try to approach the material from different perspectives and see if you can find what you need. Also ask someone that isn't deeply involved in running or designing the game to have a look at the material. They can probably give you really good feedback. And of course, playtest if possible. Important in relation to this is of course your target audience. Who are you talking to? What language do you use? Who is in charge of communication? Let's say you are doing a game at the theater. Is your target audience the people who usually go to the theater to have them try out something new? Or is it role-playing gamers that you want to come and experience the theater and what that can bring? Or both? Because these audiences are used to very different languages. If you start talking about a game master, rules and meta techniques, then many from the theater audience won't understand what you are talking about. And if you talk about an interactive, exploring piece for exercising autonomous thinking through play as the active social agent, then a lot of the role players won't really follow. If you want to reach both audiences, then you might want to have the material in different versions to explain what you're trying to do. And the person in charge of communications needs to understand and be able to use both languages. And the same is true if you work towards education, use it for therapy, and so on. Pre-game activities at the location. The first important thing to think about is what you are trying to do. Are you trying to convey information to the players? Then you want a briefing. Do you want your players to create content like relations? Then you want a workshop where they are active in co-creation. Do you want them to practice a certain technique? Then you want a workshop where they get to try it out and actively participate. And the last part is about handling the group. Does the group run low on energy? Then you might want to either take a break or throw in a short exercise to get the energy going. Or if the group is all over the place, then you might want to throw in an exercise to gather their focus so you can keep working. And this leads up to intentionality. When creating your schedule with exercises, you should think about why you are doing each exercise. Why is it there? What is its purpose? And how does it connect to the role-playing game? You don't want to throw in an exercise you really liked from another game if it isn't really relevant to your game. Just because an exercise is really good doesn't mean it's helpful for what you are trying to do. For example, a lot of LARPs work with exercises from the drama community as part of their pre-game activities. There are many good things there that you as a designer can use for your game. But to just throw in random drama exercises that don't connect to your game isn't really helping. When I have been out working with edu-larp in schools with beginners, we, for example, sometimes use a line exercise. This is where we give them different statements that they should relate to and decide what they think about. Then they get to show what they think by positioning themselves on a line that goes from fully agree to absolutely disagree. We usually start with simple things like, I like ice cream, or I'm always on time for class. And after doing this 2 or 3 times, they understand how the exercise works, and we ask them to do it one more time, but this time as their character. The first statement we use after this one is usually one that we have already used when they did it as themselves. So maybe we again say, I'm always on time for class. This helps them to see what they think as an individual and what they think as their character doesn't have to be the same. It's also a good way to see if someone hasn't understood the idea of a character and therefore get a chance to clarify how this works. And then we make a couple of more statements that they get to do as their character and relate to. And what is important here is that even if the first statement might be a simple one just to convey the idea, the rest that they get should be related to the content in the LARP. Using I'm always on time for class works great if the content of the LARP is about a school in some way. If it is something they can relate to out of game, and since they know each other in the group, they probably know-ish where everyone in the class would stand. But it is also something that is relevant for their characters in-game if they have been in a class together for a long time, and it helps to give an idea of the group. So it gives info both to the players, but also to me as a game master. If you are running something for experienced players, then this exercise isn't as useful. There are other exercises that can help with finding your character or relations within the group that probably would work better. Make sure to think about what the players need to practice and focus on that. Some parts might not need practicing as much as other things. Prioritize. And this also goes for the briefing. What parts are essential that everyone has heard? That might be something you want in a briefing. Sure, it might be on the webpage, but has everyone read that? What happens if someone has not read it or has forgotten it? If it's okay if 1 or 2 players don't know about it, then you probably don't need a briefing about it. Don't put things in long briefings that aren't essential. You want to use the time together for workshops, not for holding long lectures. I sometimes think of this whole part as a jigsaw puzzle. You want to have the right pieces to create a lovely picture. But just because a piece can sit in one place doesn't mean it should. Then you end up with holes somewhere else and the picture won't be finished. And don't throw in random pieces from other puzzles because they fit shape-wise, because the end result won't have any holes, but it won't really make a coherent picture. Now let's move on to post-game. So let's go back again and refresh our memories. The purpose of the post-game activities is to help with 3 things. To reconnect with the world outside of the game, to reflect on the experience, and to recuperate after the experience. The post-game activities include different parts to be managed, and these are emotional processing, intellectual processing, and, if applicable, educational processing, and last, community building. Remember, for transformative games and educational games, integration into the real world becomes very important. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the next video.